Hi everyone, Grant for the Flame Learning channel. In this video, we're going to discuss a few improvements related to machine learning and internally generated motion vectors. This should hopefully improve your experience using the Flame 2021.2 update and later versions. So we'll walk through the various aspects in Flame and discuss the context around these enhancements. This includes notifications, caching and archiving. Please use the agenda if you wish to view specific sections of this video. So here you have a shot in the effects environment, and you want to use machine learning to isolate a part of the image for a selective. So with the chosen selective, you go to the Keyer tools and choose one of your machine learning tools and activate the function. As in previous versions of Flame, this initializes the particular machine learning model for the analysis. During this time, Flame now notifies you that this initialization is taking place. When the message disappears, the machine learning model is ready and it will be applied to the chosen image. Now, in order to improve the initialization and loading times of the machine learning model, Flame takes the serialization of the model and writes it to your system disk. This is a CentOS-only feature, and it means that the machine learning model will be loaded quicker when you initialize the tools. However, further computations to calculate any maths or isolations using the machine learning will still take the same amount of time as before. Now, the stored serialization of the machine learning model is based on the current version of Flame and the system's graphics card. So if you were to upgrade to a newer version of Flame, there may be a newer machine learning model that requires a new serialization. And if you are using a different graphics card, the serialization will have to be redone to work correctly across the new graphics hardware. Now, when working in a timeline effects, and not batch or batch effects, the machine learning cache and motion vectors cache will be processed to your main storage and is persistent between sessions. Since the cache is considered as part of the project, it can also be archived, which will be covered in the next section of this video. What I'd like to discuss now is how to manage the machine learning cache and the motion vectors cache. For example, when you create motion vectors or a machine learning cache, the analysis does take space on your designated storage. The files can get pretty big considering the amount of data being generated. Now, understandably, the cache data will be immensely helpful when using these tools in the timeline effects. However, if you find that you don't need them, or perhaps running out of space, you can flush the cache. Simply select the segment in your sequence, and using the context menu, you see the media submenu and flush the cached data. If you have used the functionality all over the sequence, you can also open the timeline search tools and search for segments containing motion vectors or machine learning cache. You can flush segments individually or by selection, but you can also flush the cached analysis for an entire sequence or selection of clips just by accessing the same menus via the media panel and choosing the same options. You can search for clips using the media panel search options, locate the specific clips, and flush the cache using the context menu. So that's how you can manage the cache as well as free up some space. If later you decide to tweak those timeline effects that use motion vectors maps or machine learning models, you may need to cache them again. The last topic of this video deals with archiving, since motion vectors cache and machine learning cache in the timeline are considered as part of the project. If you go to the Media Hub environment and create a new archive for the project, you are now presented with a few different options. So you can cache the source media into the archive, as well as any of the timeline effects renders. But now you also have the option to include the machine learning cache and motion vectors cache used in those timeline effects. This only applies to segments in a sequence and clips in the media panel. This option does not apply to nodes in batch or batch effects. Now, using this option, the archive size will increase further, but if you restore the project at a later date, you should not have to recache the machine learning or the motion vectors. If you don't want to save the machine learning cache and motion vectors cache, you can choose to exclude them from the archive, and this will keep the file size down. So those are the enhancements for the machine learning and motion vectors in the timeline. Hopefully this will make your experience more fluid and productive. Don't forget to check out the other features, workflows and enhancements to Flame 2021.2. Comments, feedback and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated. Please subscribe to the Flame Learning channel and click the bell to be notified for future videos. Thanks for watching and see you soon.